Hi everyone, and welcome to the channel. You know what? I need some coffee. Let's see. I feel better now. So, I had a nap, so I needed that to help me wake up a little bit. So, you're not broken. And I probably had a video about that long time ago, but it's a good time to revisit that topic at this moment. I believe there are a lot of people out there these days that think of themselves that way or see themselves that way. Perhaps not all the time, but there always comes a time in our lives that we ask ourselves that question. We all asked ourselves that question at some point in our lives. Am I broken? And the answer to that is really no, you're not. Perhaps you feel out of place. You're different than other people. You know, you don't fit with the mold. You don't feel comfortable pretending to be something that you're not, putting on a mask and performing for others just so you can feel comfortable around them, get some sort of validation, be accepted, be liked, and all of these things that, we talk about here all the time. And then there are the other issues that stem from people who seem to never be able to get a healthy relationship. And all of these things happen because we fail to take a deep look at all of our wounds, our deepest psychological wounds, things that we carry with ourselves, sometimes for a whole lifetime. Because all these things stem and come from when we were children, childhood. And I talk about childhood here all the time. You guys, if you're new to the channel, go watch some of my content prior to this and you'll see what I'm talking about. There's a lot of talk about childhood here because childhood matters. The environment that we grow up in matters. What kind of environment was that? What were we seeing? How were we feeling? How were we being treated? uh, Not only at home, but in school, around, our parents, grandparents, friends, all of these things matter. And until we look at these things where it has to be looked at, it can be a rough ride and things may not change, You may continue to perpetually repeat the same types of mistakes, therefore creating problems and issues because of those mistakes. Like I said before, um, life is all about making decisions, taking action, and then dealing with the outcome of such decisions and such actions, right? It's a very simple, basic concept that most people may not even realize sometimes, but that's how it is. It's very, very straightforward, basic, simple way of explaining. You do something, and after you do that something, something happens because of what you did. And that's it, right? It's easy. So there's no such thing as being broken. No one is broken. And when we see ourselves that way, there is truth to it, obviously. It's because we recognize that something is wrong somewhere, right? Now, we can sit here all day and be like, oh, you don't have to do anything. Life is fine. You just got to be yourself and this and that. Yeah. And all these things are valid. Yes, absolutely. In many different ways. But there's also the aspect of we have to recognize whatever patterns that we have that are causing these things to happen in our lives, whatever they may be. The bad things that I'm talking about, the lessons that keep repeating themselves over and over again. It's like a person who keeps having the same type of relationship, for instance, and gender is not important here. Okay, it doesn't matter. It can be a guy, can be a girl. It doesn't matter at all. But you get what I'm saying. There's people out there, that they keep getting into the same type of, let's say, toxic relationships over and over and over again. And then they reach a point where it's what people call the breaking point, right? When they're like, oh, I'm broken. I'm never gonna. It's never gonna work out. I'm never gonna get it right. I'm never gonna find the right person, and all of these things. But you're looking at it the wrong way. And all I'm gonna say is this: when was the last time you sat with yourself and looked within for some answers? Because you are your best friend in your life, whether you know it or not. That's a fact, actually. You are your best friend. You never leave your own side. You're always there for the good and for the bad. Whatever happens, you're always there. You're always present. So you are your best friend. You have to look within. You have to look for the answers. And sometimes that may not be a pleasant experience, and that's why a lot of people don't want to deal with these things. They don't want to look, they don't want to take a deep look inside of themselves to try and figure out these things, why some things are happening the way they are happening and they keep happening. It's because you're not looking at the root of the problem. And that's really all you have to do. Once you look at that and you start figuring things out, then all of these things can be addressed and be taken care of, and everything changes. It's not that difficult. My friends, it's not that difficult at all. And you don't need therapy either. We all have everything we need right here inside of us, and we are capable of handling all of these things when we do it right. But we have to be willing to do it, to go that extra mile and take a deep dive inside within ourselves. Because only then we're going to start figuring these things out, and then things will change. Like I said before, nothing stays the same forever. things change. So if you're one of those people that keep having the situations, repeat themselves over and over and over again, maybe it's time to have a time alone with yourself, do a deep dive, and start asking yourself the tough questions that you're always running away from. Because the only reason why these things happen is because you're not willing to face yourself in that sense. Because people are always dealing with their own, fears and all the things that, stem from that. Nobody wants to step out of the comfort zone. And we have to be willing to do all of these things to be uncomfortable. Listening to our intuition. Remember, I said that before, and that's very, very true. When your intuition is telling you something, when it's your true intuition, when you know it's your real intuition, it's always gonna feel uncomfortable at first. That's how you know it's real. That's how you know it's coming from within, and it's your inner voice telling you, listen to yourself. It's not that hard, my friends. Listen to yourself. Learn how to listen to yourself every once in a while. And everything changes from that moment on. So there's no such thing as, being broken. You can feel that way. You're entitled to feel that way if that's how you want to feel. I don't know why anybody would want to feel that way, but hey, whatever floats your boat, right? But that's not a good prospect in life, and it's not a healthy way of living your life, psychologically speaking. Why would you put yourself in a position like that? Because it's we have to find our own strength by looking within. It's only then that we can be able to face these things without judging ourselves, and understanding that we have to be able to look at ourselves in the mirror and understand where all these things coming from, and then just dealing with it. And that's it. End of the story. So no one is broken. Just know that. And this is really all I wanted to talk about today. So if you like the channel, like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel grow and reach more people. And I will catch you all next time. And I'll take a sip of coffee before I turn this off. I'll see you next time, my friends. Take care, everyone. Be safe.